Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about a very tense development in the Middle East. Recent claims that Iran and Syria have struck Mossad headquarters near Tel Aviv again, that Russia is somehow escalating involvement, and the broader implications of all this. I'll try to lay out what is known, what is claimed, what is unverified, and what this could mean going forward. Over the past few days, there have been reports largely from Iranian sources that a missile or drone strike was launched at Mossad's main facility near Tel Aviv. The Iranian news agency Tasnim, among others, claimed that Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps also targeted an Israeli military intelligence base known as Escalates in a suburb of Tel Aviv. There are also claims of a large-scale combined attack including drones, missiles, and that this represents yet another escalation in Iran's confrontation with Israel. From what I have seen, independent verification is thin. Israeli authorities have not confirmed Mossad HQ was hit. The footage online shows smoke near the intelligence facility, but not enough to conclusively assess the damage. So when we talk about Russia escalates, the connection is even more speculative. There is some reporting that Russia has condemned Israeli actions in Iran as unprovoked and illegal under the UN Charter. But whether Russia is actively facilitating or coordinating these kinds of strikes on Mossad HQ by Iran or Syria has not been established in credible sources I found. Here are some of the key claims and counterclaims. What Iran claims, that Mossad headquarters was hit, or at least the area nearby, and that Escalates base was targeted. Also claims that dozens or even over 100 drones were launched in some cases. What Israel says or has done. Israel has been striking Iranian targets in retaliation, particularly facilities related to missile production, nuclear research, etc. In June 2025, for example, Israel carried out a major operation inside Iran called Operation Rising Lion that involved Mossad covert operations, drones, airstrikes, etc. What Russia's role appears to be. Russia has publicly condemned Israeli attacks on Iran, called for restraint, and asserted under international law that some of Israel's actions are unprovoked. Russia also appears to have given tacit permission in the past for Israeli strikes in Syria, aimed at disrupting Iranian weapons transfers to Hezbollah, according to former Mossad chief Yossi Cohen. Here are a few things that are unclear or disputed. Whether Mossad HQ was truly damaged in the latest alleged strike. The reports come from Iranian media. Independent or Israeli confirmation is lacking or minimal. Whether Syria was an active participant in the strike, i.e., firing, facilitating, or merely the territory through which strikes may have passed. What Russia's direct involvement might be, whether it's political, material, or more operational, e.g., facilitating, providing intelligence, allowing airspace, etc. So far, nothing in open credible reporting clearly shows Russia participating in striking Mossad HQ with Iran and Syria. What are the implications if these claims are true? If Mossad HQ is actually struck, that would represent a serious escalation. Mossad is not just another military target. It's a central agency for intelligence operations outside Israel. A successful attack could compromise intelligence networks, personnel, operations. It could force Israel to rethink its security posture, both internally and along borders. Such an attack would also likely provoke retaliation large-scale. Israel has repeatedly shown willingness to strike back not just immediately, but also in ways designed to degrade longer-term capabilities of its adversaries. Another implication is for regional stability. The involvement of multiple states, Iran, Syria, possibly Russia, raises the chance of miscalculations, spillovers into other theaters, Lebanon, Gaza, Syria proper, or even direct confrontation. On the legal and diplomatic front, attacks on intelligence installations, especially inside or near civilian areas, raise questions under international law. Sovereignty violations, civilian casualties, questions of proportionality, prevention vs. retaliation are all going to come up. Also, there's a propaganda/information war dimension. Each side will use claims and counterclaims to rally domestic support, to signal capability, to intimidate. So claims may sometimes outstrip what really happened. What might be motivating Iran and Syria to stage or claim such strikes? Demonstration of strength and deterrence. By claiming to hit Mossad, they show they are no longer passive. Domestic audience, to show that they are responding to Israeli aggression, that they are defending sovereignty. Strategic messaging, to allies and adversaries, to raise the cost for Israel of its operations inside Iran or in Syria. Bargaining chips in diplomatic negotiations or in broader geopolitical alignments with Russia, perhaps, or with other regional powers. What about Russia? What could it gain? What are the risks? And what might be its role? Russia has interests in Syria military bases, influence with Assad regime, in maintaining its regional alliances with Iran, with Syrian government, and also in managing its relationships with Israel. Russia often positions itself as a mediator, or at least as a power that must be taken into account by both sides. If Russia supports even tacitly actions that weaken Israel's ability to operate in Syria or Iran, that could help preserve Assad's regime, help Iran's influence, or maintain supply lines e.g. to Hezbollah. On the other hand, being drawn too directly into conflict with Israel carries risk, military, economic, reputational. Israel has advanced missile and airstrike capabilities, and Russia does not want yet another front or confrontation while it is engaged elsewhere. So far, Russia seems to be making strong statements of support for Iran's position in the diplomatic sphere, condemning Israeli attacks, calling for restraint. But overt intervention or military backing has not been clearly documented in these recent reports. What to watch going forward? Reliable confirmation from Israel or independent observers about whether Mossad HQ was actually hit, and damage assessments. Any signs of Israeli retaliation, whether diplomatic or military. Any involvement by Russia beyond statements, e.g., deployments, intelligence sharing, allowing strikes through airspace, etc. How Syria responds, whether the Assad regime claims involvement, denies, or assists. Reactions from other regional actors, Hezbollah, other Iranian proxies, neighboring states. Impacts on civilians, casualties, displacement. Why this matters more broadly. This kind of escalation is part of a pattern. The Israel-Iran conflict has grown in recent years beyond localized strikes or proxy warfare. There is more direct confrontation, more risk of spillover. Intelligence operations, strikes on weapons facilities, drone warfare, missile barrages, all of this is increasing in frequency, scale, and risk. Also, the legal and moral costs are rising. When strikes hit or risk civilian infrastructure, when claims and propaganda cloud truth, it can be hard for the international community to respond effectively. Finally, the risk of miscalculation is real. If one side misinterprets an action, or if third parties intervene, whether by backing, by supplying, by providing airspace or intel, we could see a chain reaction that escalates beyond what anyone intended. In conclusion, this situation remains murky. There are strong claims by Iran, but independent verification is limited. Russia's role is more clearly rhetorical and diplomatic so far rather than openly operational based on what's published. If indeed Mossad HQ is struck, this marks another serious escalation in this ongoing confrontation. I'll keep monitoring verified sources. Once there is more solid evidence, damage reports, and responses, we'll get a clearer picture. Thanks for watching, and let's hope things don't spiral further out of control.